I thought it wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty good.
I went in having no expectations, and my expectations were actually kind of exceeded. So, like, I've got no complaints with it. Aside from very many.
I do have some comments and questions. I filled out a form.
You signed the waiver that we had to sign when we walked in, right?
Yeah, the one that says don't talk about this film on the internet.
Don't talk shit about it, or else The Rock's gonna come and find us.
He's gonna send his CGI monkey after us from Rampage. He's not gonna beat us up, he's just gonna flip us off.
So Black Adam is a superhero in the DC universe. I don't.
He's not.
He's not.
He's not.
Okay.
I don't know how much you know about these characters.
I know nothing. I was just about to say. I was gonna segue into. I know nothing about DC. Marvel is my stepping stone of knowing stuff.
Black Adam, as far as I know in the comics, I'm not too sure, but I know specifically from the animated movies and some of the comics, I guess, is that he's sometimes an anti-hero, but mostly he's a villain. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works. He's a villain to Shazam, because in the beginning, in the open narration that you can't understand, because the kid has like a double voice, and anybody who's trying to say demon words and names, they have a weird distortion, and you can't understand their names.
Yeah, they do like a nice, I say a nice, but it's god-awful reverb effect with it. You can't understand it at all. It's just like, it's like if I were yelling into a Pringles can, and then that Pringles can was like 30 miles away, and you're like, what?
But yeah, at the beginning, when they was telling the story of how the champion won the day, I immediately knew it was wrong because they told the same story in Shazam with different details. Like, the wizard told him how he fucked up. But I like that the champion betrayed the wizards, not the dad who became the champion from the son, but the son betrayed the wizards by choosing somebody who was unworthy. So in a way, it's still the kid that betrayed them by giving the powers to some random guy.
See, I was really confused with it at first because the first Shazam one, it's basically the same story, but then they changed minor details as if you're just trying to lie and fib and whatnot, and it was just okay, that makes sense, but then I was really confused because they made the dad hidden, and I was like, okay, right, it's a side character, they're not really going to say anything, it's open narration.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Not really going to be a big deal, but the kid is just doesn't look anything like what they would have cast a young Rock, so I was just kind of well, how does this take place? It felt off. And then going into the end so it was just really confusing because they set up that he's this big fucking hero, but then he does absolutely nothing hero worthy.
Yeah, he basically just murders his way through the entire movie.
Yeah, he just kills. He fucking racks up. I think I counted nearly 70 bodies.
I didn't even bother counting because Jesus.
I think it was nearly 70 bodies if my mental math is correct. But and then it's just and then it's revealed that he's actually the father of the original hero, and I'm like, that makes more sense. And
I thought that was a good twist.
I
didn't see it coming.
I didn't, but the signs were all there, especially when you watch it back now.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like a nice little way of making Shazam new, or not Shazam, sorry, Black Adam. But it's just,
and it completely changes what you expect of the character, because Shazam sets it up that Black Adam he was chosen as the good guy, but then he had a dark turn at some point, but that's just not the case. It just ended up being in somebody who just immediately lost a child. So it's more acceptable that he took that dark turn. I mean, who wouldn't?
No, especially after, when you watch Shazam and that back-to-back, it really does cater towards, Black Adam's a bad guy, and then, now he's more understandable in his vengeance and his destruction, but at the same time, though, it really just jars from the beginning where it really just leaves a giant confusing gap until the twist, and it's the twist makes it satisfying, but if you don't know the character, I don't think it's so much that if you don't know the character, it's just the beginning. It feels off that you don't know much about it, and then he has maybe 15-20 minutes of non-screen time. He's got a fair amount of bits where he doesn't actually show up on screen, and then it's just the other guys, and it's just they do nothing but fill time. Whenever he shows up, he just fucking stares at the person, says one line.
About that though, the whole Dwayne Johnson usually plays himself in movies, And he's breaking that mold in Black Adam by instead portraying a concrete slab. He has, like, no emotions, no reactions, but you have to understand that this is a man who got these godly powers, immediately lost his son, and then was kept asleep for 5,000 years. For him, his child, that's just happened. He's still going through the loss of his child.
He's very stoic, but at the same time, for a man who was alive before Christ, met fucking God at that point, got powers of God, his child dies and he's frozen in concrete, and then he wakes up in fucking whatever, and then it's like, oh, I understand now. The year is 2022. He doesn't say it in the film, but it's literally just feels like he accustoms so quick. But then it's just like, my child is dead.
I found it weird that he could immediately speak English. But it's magic, I guess, which isn't very well explained in the DCEU.
No, but at least they do a better job of explaining it than how it is in Marvel. Marvel does not have...
Marvel has a very weird way of doing magic.
They don't have magic, they have sorcery. Magic is the evil stuff within the sorcery, which is really weird.
Well, they have, like, a few different versions of magic.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Marvel.
It was just very confusing at points. The first half of the film felt kind of slow, but the whole film just felt like a lot of action pieces, which isn't bad, but it just made the drama drag on. And there were a lot of times when I was like, man, the movie's almost over. The movie's going to end. Just 15 minutes later, it kept going.
I had the opposite of that, where it just felt like it was over so quickly. Like, they were just blowing through some of these confrontations in, like, 30 seconds flat just to get to more action.
Oh, no, for sure. I definitely agree with that. But, towards the end of the film, it was like, it dragged on in certain points, and you're right that it dragged on, but then it cut short. And it just felt like Dwayne wanted to be a superhero, so he got the ability to be a superhero and did every cliche in the book. How much fucking slow-mo was that? That was tough. Every time, I really liked the tornado chick. She was super cool. But, every time she's on screen, it's fucking slow motion like it's Zack Snyder. It's cool in certain points to emphasize, speed and, the flow of things, but everything she did was
Cyclone
slow-mo.
was her name. Cyclone.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
But you kind of have... It's the same thing with The Flash, is that in order to film super speed and make it so you can understand it, you have to do it in slow-mo.
But I'm not talking about...
But then they make it in, real slow-mo, not just having the person be shown in real time and everything else going slow around them. They always make them slow as well, which I found odd. I don't know why that's a big decision all the time.
See, I didn't like, for certain times, it was okay, to emphasize, if she's doing, a tornado thing, moving her hands, and it does, a cool, little transformation, make it slow motion, show the impact and the buildup of it. It makes tension. She just jump and wave her arms, and it'd be fucking slow motion. Black Adam would just, pick his nose, and it'd be slow motion. There wasn't any substance or any need for it, except in a couple scenes where they showcase that he has super speed. But in reality, he just really fast. As you said, he's in slow motion, but everybody else is somehow slower than him. They either have to be like Quicksilver in X-Men, or they need to be like Makari in Eternals, where you can clearly see their speed against everybody else, and similar to how the Flash is portrayed.
The Flash is portrayed very inconsistently with his speed, though. It varies wildly, even between scenes, not even between movies.
See, and that's an issue. If you're gonna stick with speed and stuff like that, I think the fact that if everything's moving at regular speed, and you're moving faster than regular speed, that shows more of a threat and more power than putting everything slow motion, because you're just if it looks slow motion, it looks like you could do it.
If you could move at super speed, you would just be the fastest you could be all the time.
Exactly.
There'd be no point to go slower than that. Because otherwise you're more vulnerable in that state.
Yeah, so it's there's no need to... The way they showcase it is very frustrating, and it's not accurate, and it's very inconsistent, and there is a lot of it for no reason.
So you said you didn't mind it, right? The movie?
I enjoy it.
Were there any parts that you liked? Because so far it's just been a lot of...
I really like Pierce Brosnan's performance. He was really good as Dr. Fate.
I didn't like it.
No.
Not the performance so much, but like the way Dr. Fate is portrayed. That is a character that requires a lot more build up and explanation in order to be not just misconstrued as carbon copy of Doctor Strange, which is what he is.
That's straight up what he was, and like they kind of just lean into that with the film because they don't set him up, which is very disappointing because he is a character. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he is very complex from what I've read, and from you need probably a couple films to set him up. I think for what Pierce Bronson was given, I think he did rather well with it. And I would like to kind of see him on more projects, either as Dr. Fate and he somehow survives or something, but like, I don't know what you could do with that. His performance was really solid. He kind of carried the film.
Well, because he was the one that could see the future. If you can see the future, of course you're going to carry the film because you're the one that gives the plot.
Well, yeah,
slowly over time.
No, I meant like his Pierce Bronson's acting.
Oh.
Maybe really enjoy it, but you're right. He did carry the film, like, and plot wise.
It's just a lot of touching a helmet and getting a headache. That's all it really was.
I mean, compared to
how much recording did he have to do, like physically there? I mean, there's the bit in the car and the bit in the plane, but other than that, you're just like in a green screen or in a dark room with your face lit up.
That's fine.
Basically, Iron Man.
Yeah, we love Robert Downey for it. So I mean, like there was the couple of fight scenes, like the action scenes, weren't even that bad. They were rather well. I thought they were enjoyable. I
liked the Clint Eastwood standoff bit. I think that it was set up and then concluded way too quickly. Like, it should have been set up at the beginning of the movie, and at the very end, when he's facing against the guy, the demon, whose name I don't remember because it's all dubbed weirdly.
We'll call him Mephisto.
I thought he was Trigon, the father of Raven, for a while. And then I realized that's not what his name was. But I think that setup and then payoff was just way too quick in succession.
No, they could have.
And kind of, it was very disappointing. In Suicide Squad 2016, Boomerang has a thing for pink unicorns, and then he has a pink unicorn in his duffel bag, and then it falls out of his coat later in a fight scene, and then later in the movie he gets stabbed in that same part of the coat, and the knife gets pulled out, and it's a wad of cash. There's no payoff. It should have been the pink unicorn. And that's kind of what it was, I think, is that they give you this idea, they kind of reinforce it a little bit in the street fight, and then that's it.
Yeah, there doesn't
kind of like falls flat.
They don't give a lot of payoff with it.
I think the fact that you can't remember any of the names of the places your character speaks one. Everybody has a weird name with... I know it's meant to be like these beings are thousands of years old, but they're not memorable. We saw this movie an hour ago. We can't remember any of their names.
No, and I even have the IMDb up of everybody. So I was trying to figure out, because in my notes I have, was that fucking Kevin Nealon playing Uncle Al of the Atom Smasher? But it was actually Henry Winkler.
That was the Fonz. I know the Fonz.
You know the Fonz?
I will recognize the Fonz and everything.
Because I knew he was familiar. I couldn't remember if it was the Fonz, but I always get him and Kevin Nealon mixed up, and Dick Van Dyke, which I don't know why. They don't look anything similar, but I get them mixed up.
I don't know. Maybe they're from the same kind of age of acting.
Henry Winkler and Dick Van Dyke maybe are closer, but like Kevin Nealon is like friends with Adam Sandler. So, like, there's no reason for it to be him.
You mentioned on the way back the Atom Smasher mask. Somebody should get sued over that mask.
Here's the issue with that, because when it came out and they were leaking, like, they were talking about posters and everything, people were like, he looks exactly like Deadpool.
And he does.
He
down
does.
to like the different like parts of the mask.
Straight up the mask, like it actually has like the lines up to the eyes, and you can clearly see the eye pockets and everything. And
yeah,
it
the
literally
little diamond shape.
Yeah,
it
literally just looks like Deadpool.
Yeah, it's like they ripped a 3D model.
But the issue with that is Atom Smasher came out before Deadpool with that exact costume design. This I know for a fact. They treat him like he's third-rate Deadpool. And that's all I can see throughout the film. He's Deadpool with Ant-Man's... He's got Deadpool's fucking quirky sense of humor with Ant-Man's power.
He does not.
No,
he does not have Deadpool's sense of humor.
Sorry.
I'm going to come out and say you are wrong. He
not
acts
only are you
nothing like Deadpool.
Not only are you wrong, you're stupid.
No, because he's just an awkward guy. He's the one thrown into the mix to be the comic relief of the group. But he's not Deadpool.
Sorry, that's what That's what I should have said. I should have clarified that he's meant to be comic relief, but he's just a nerdy fucking teenager who happens to look like Deadpool, and it just bothers me because of the entire outfit, even down to the striping on the shirt and everything.
The weird collar around the neck where the mask meets the suit.
Yeah, it just all looks like Deadpool with Goliath's powers, and it's fine because people love DC, and like if you're a DC
I think Atom
fan,
Smasher is also supposed to be a villain normally.
So like maybe Uncle Al, maybe the Fonz got tired of his life of crime.
He got tired of wearing a leather coat, so he gave his leather coat to his nephew.
Yeah, he went nay.
Okay, I'm wrong. I don't think he's normally a villain. That might have just been in the Flash TV show, which I watched at some point.
Maybe.
It's probably a villain. They had a big arc of heroes who are from another Earth, but they're villains, and ooh, it's scary. At the beginning, when Black Adam wakes up in the bed, the kid's rattling off the names of different heroes. He doesn't even mention Shazam, which I thought was weirdly specific to leave out.
Yeah, because
they're distancing themselves from that.
Like maybe Shazam's like more of just like a little New York type hero. He's not like a Justice League hero.
Like he protects. I think that was a big role for him in the comic, is that he protects the city he's from. But in the comics, I think it's usually like deserted city or something. I have no idea. Like we said before, Marvel is our bread and butter. We don't know a lot about DC stuff.
No, we just kind of went because we heard the reviews of Black Adam were pretty mixed, and we liked Suicide Squad, so like it was really
the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, not 2016
Suicide Squad.
We got to clarify because
nobody fucking likes that movie except for people who are weird, and
David
you know what?
Ayer.
They're just weird.
David Ayer likes that movie.
Who?
David Ayer.
Didn't he direct it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that bothered me right at the beginning of the film is that Eternium, that mineral that they're mining for, Black Adam gets hit by a rocket powered by Eternium.
Petunia.
Nobody can remember the names of anything. But he gets hit by that rocket, and it damages him to the point where he blacks out for an extended period of time. And then that never comes back.
You know,
there's no other weapons powered by... You'd think he'd be lobbing fucking grenades at him, charged with this fucking mineral. But no. And it's like their best thing. They make a force field, and that's it. The best weapon against him, and they never use it.
No, straight up. It's just like... Yeah, he like gets hit by the rocket, and it only like makes like a tiny little scratch. And he like flies right up, and it just falls down like he just got a 50 cal right to the head. And fucking drops, and then he wakes up in the bedroom. I have a big gripe with the bedroom. Heals himself by just pointing at it, and Scary Movie 3 finger pissing all over it, and with the same thing that he's leaking out.
Yeah, like it kind of makes sense a little bit when you think of it in terms of like ballistic armor. With Kevlar, you get hit once, and basically the whole thing's fucked. Like you have to replace the whole goddamn vest because the integrity of it is broken. But with like, it doesn't build any suspense or kind of like, it doesn't matter if he can just point his finger at it and it's fixed.
Yeah, literally.
It takes all the tension out of it. That, and they never bring the weapon back.
What I hate is when a character just learns all these powers and does them. You don't get to actually see like what the meaning behind them is. I'm not saying he has to explain, oh, I'm healing myself using a healing factor from the magician's wizard stuff. But just be like...
Houdini taught me to heal my wounds.
Yeah, but just be like, oh, fuck, this hurts. I'm going to just solder this up, you know, and that's it.
That kid's mom is the worst first aid person I've ever seen. Didn't she put, like, toilet paper and duct tape on the side of them? That's what it looked like.
Yeah, Band-Aids and fucking toilet paper and gauze or something.
Terrible.
The bedroom also. I hate how... It's literally just, like, designed to sell toys at that point. Check out Batman, check out Wonder Woman, check out Aquaman, which makes sense because the kid's a giant nerd.
Look at all these hero designs that look nothing like their movie counterparts.
Yeah, exactly.
And are used basically just to sell real toys at Walmart.
And then the kid's shown as a big, like, fan of, like, the superheroes, and he's got only, like, 3 or 4 comics of, like, the Suicide Squad. And like a Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, Superman, Aquawoman, and Suicide Squad.
Aquawoman.
Aquawoman, yeah. Aquawoman and Wonder Lad.
I wonder how cancel culture would react to Black Adam's name.
You mean politically incorrect Adam? Well, yeah. Actually, I just kept thinking about it. Like whenever I hear Black Adam, and now that he's played by The Rock, I just keep thinking of the scene from Falcon Winter Soldier. It's Black Falcon. It's Black Falcon. It's just Falcon Kid. Are you Black Kid?
It's just Adam. Are you Black Adam?
Are you Black Kid? No. But it's just like, I fucking hate how they're like, we've been watching the DC animated films, so like a little context with this one and why it's my biggest gripe is because at the very end of the film, it'll be like, so what do we call ourselves? And they'll like fucking nudge their buddy, and then it just cuts the title card showing the name, and it's just like, fuck you.
That's been done so many times.
I hate it. It's such a
most
fucking cliche.
memorably in Fanforstic, which is the very for a terrible movie again.
Oh, god awful.
As terrible, if not more terrible, than Suicide Squad 2016. And it's just at the very end, he's like, "It's fantastic," and he's like, "Say that again." Say that again. I think I got something, guys. Huh? It's pretty fantastic. Wink. And there's 4 of us. Hey, wait a minute.
I mean, he's on to something. Johnny Storm's like, Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four! That's what we'll call ourselves!
We'll call him Black Adam because he suits black and he's named Adam. Justice Society of America. What the hell?
They're just like a subdivision of the Girl Scouts of America and the Boy Scouts of America.
Who are they? Have they always been here? Dr. Fate is over 100 years old, as stated in the film. Never heard of him before, even though he's like a godlike being, almost. And then Hawkman, who lives at Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
That's true, actually, I didn't realize.
Literally has a plane come out of the fucking fountain. I don't know, where do his wings come from? Even the helmet, like, disintegrates into his neck when he doesn't want to wear it.
I think nanomachines, son.
Oh, fucking nanomachines.
I hate nanomachines. That's the laziest fucking plot device ever.
It's like the MCU putting quantum in front of everything. It's grinding me down.
It's like
it really grinds my gears.
It's like this multiverse bullshit when it's just parallel universes.
You'd think that why does Hawkman have a connection to Amanda Waller? As if he's running his own Suicide Squad.
You know what? That actually reminds me. Why wouldn't they just send in the Suicide Squad?
Why didn't they just call in the fucking Justice League, who are good now, and Superman's back and fine and normal?
Yeah, why did they send them to fight the fucking Demon or Black Adam, and then just had the Suicide Squad there to liberate people or something? You know, you have Amanda Waller there anyway. Because what the fuck is she doing there? And you know what? She would have been a great place to use to fucking give more plot and like more summary to some of the characters and like flesh out Dr. Fate too. Instead, she's just like Dr. Fate. He can see through time. All
she is, Amanda Waller, is just a connection to the other movies.
Yeah.
Just a hint that this is actually a part of the DCEU.
Much like the fucking toys and shit and the comics and whatnot. It's like, oh, you know DC. It's the same thing that people fucking got mad at Marvel for being like, you like Stan Lee, all the characters. It's just like you're doing fan service, but you're not doing it good.
Yeah. You're focusing more on the fan service than actually making the story work.
Now, it'd be completely different if it was like Amanda Waller was like, I'm going to send in my own team, and then Hawkman's like, no, I got this. I have a group of people. That's more organic.
She would never go for that. Yeah, but I got my group of people. This is the first time I'm seeing you, I think. I don't know you. You have a mansion. How did you get that? I did like his transforming weapon, though.
That was pretty sick, though. I liked how it turned from the mace to the battle axe.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The emotional integrity of the scene where Dr. Fate is saying goodbye to Hawkman, my old friend. I don't care.
My dear chum.
I've never seen you two before in my life. You're just introduced for this movie and probably this movie alone.
You're right. Dr. Fate's end was just like, goodbye, my dear chum. I had more care for Savant than the Suicide Squad at the beginning, when he just starts swimming away in fear and like just fucking gets his head exploded. Like, I cared more about him at the end of that than fucking anything else.
Because you watch him throughout the entirety of it, and you just watch him break down. Like, this is literally just setting us up to be murdered, and he's just, at the end of the day, a man.
Yes.
He's not a superhero, he's not a soldier, he's just a guy.
Just a guy with issues.
And the Dr. Fate, I don't know much about him. Most of what I know comes from the animated TV show Young Justice, which probably nobody's ever seen, but it got a few good seasons. Is that Dr. Fate's helmet is basically like self-aware, and like it's mentioned in the movie, it's like 1,000,000 years old and it's from an alien planet and only lets people touch it who wants to let touch it. And basically it has its own will, and when you put it on, they say you're possessed. And in the show, the cartoon, you are possessed. And you have to basically like talk down the embodiment of the helmet in order to either get it off the person and have them not be under the control of the helmet for literally forever, or just to get them to switch to another person. In Black Adam, he just takes it off. He takes it off a lot.
Yeah, it's just like he owns
And then Hawkman
it.
just touches the helmet and can use it to make duplicates. Why? Make up the helmet to be like, oh, it's this dangerous artifact that can't be messed with, and then everybody messes with it.
I touched this helmet off screen and now I can use it?
It doesn't make sense that he'd be able to use the powers of Dr. Fate without actually putting on the helmet. For whatever his name is, the guy who actually wears the helmet, it would make sense because he spent 100 years with this
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. He basically is like its partner.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
basically part of him at this point.
Yeah. So going back to the flashbacks, every man's bald. Is that genetics? Or do they shave their hair?
Well, the guards aren't shaved,
So just the slaves are?
I guess.
Okay, but then why not just shave the women's hair too?
Because then you can't tell the difference.
Also, I thought he was really funny. The main female lead's brother, he was actually a really funny like comedy relief.
I like at the end, like, he's just fighting demons because he knows he can't die. He dies to electricity.
He dies
so-
to electricity. I thought
I'm immortal! Which is kind of, that's actually a subplot that was used in another Dwayne Johnson movie, Hercules, where I can't remember the actor's name. He's Blackbeard from Pirates of the Caribbean, and he was in the John Wick movies as the owner of the hotel. But like he saw a vision of himself being killed by a flaming arrow, so he knows that he can't die until somebody shoots a flaming arrow at him.
I thought it would have been morbidly funny if like I die to electricity and he just get hit by like a telephone pole or something, just immediately gets like shocked. And then when they take Black Adam to the underground, was that the blonde girl from Peacemaker?
I have no idea. I know it wasn't.
So what if Shazam yells Shazam while grabbing Adam? Will they both revert?
Maybe. That's a good question. I think so.
Cause like
It's the same power.
yeah, like
Why can two people have the same power at the same time? Didn't Shazam get like all the power that Wizard had left? Was that only half the power he could potentially give to somebody if they already gave some power to another guy who they left?
I feel like the issue was because he was the last wizard left. He gave him all the power that the wizard had last, because like he gave him all the power that the wizard personally had, which was equal to everything else that they could all give at once. So like they only gave like maybe like 20% separately, and altogether it was like 100%. You know.
Black Adam's definitely more powerful than Shazam, though, right?
Mhm.
Like, even just looking at how his powers work on screen, he's a lot faster. He's literally just like a blur moving across the screen. He can walk through a wall like he's walking through styrofoam. Which
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
they
that. When he
literally-
walked through the wall, and he's
Yeah.
like walking through the couch and
Yeah,
everything.
it literally looks like that meme where it's like the kid walking into the room and it's Skyrim and he's just kicking all the chairs and everything. He's like, "Good evening." Also,
I like the recurring bit. He's just breaking down walls to walk through because
Yeah.
it's nothing to him.
and nobody mentions it until Dr. Fate and like, did they have doors? Like, yes,
That's how we got into rooms.
comedy.
There are a lot of apparently active superheroes in the DCEU that we've just never heard of before.
Yeah,
Like, I'm pretty sure Man of Steel, that was supposed to be like the first superhero. I mean, it was written so that it could be standalone. You didn't have to expand it in universe. But then they had Batman v Superman, where it's like, oh, Batman's been around for like 20 years. Wonder Woman's been around since like the First World War. So why haven't we heard about any of these other people before? I mean, Wonder Woman been around since the First World War, even longer before that. She probably would have heard of Dr. Fate at some point.
yeah, exactly. You know,
Like, you can add more characters, but if you're going to write them into the fabric of this world, then it's got to make sense, right?
yeah, like how they did it with.
That's the problem with writing without knowing what you're going to introduce in the future.
And that's why Marvel's really good with doing their phases. Each phase sets up a character and an idea, and then the next one just adds on to it.
I mean, they did it really well with the Winter Soldier because he's meant to be covert. He's meant to be a ghost. Kind of like a myth, a legend.
Yeah.
And the same with Ant-Man. Like, he went on missions in the 80s and 70s or whatever, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. just scrubbed all that. Because they have to.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and it makes sense. They give a reason as to why you've never heard of these people before. But Hawkman owns a plane.
Hawkman has a costume and it's parading around as the Society of Justice.
Giant Man, not Giant Man, Atom Smasher. Interchangeable, really. He's 6 stories tall. That's not something you can just nobody's heard of you.
Well, no, and the thing is with Atom Smasher, that's not even the original Atom Smasher.
No, that's the second one.
That's the second Atom Smasher.
Why does his nephew of all people have the same powers? That's genetic? How does that work?
Somebody cheated on somebody in that relationship.
I like when they're confronting Black Adam in the castle, and he's just munching on like chicken nuggets or something.
No, he's got the instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's that place's name, Fried Chicken. That's what he's munching on.
Oh, and then Dr. Fate just like waves his hand and it's gone. He's like,
oh, I was eating that.
He's the normal man he's the Flash of the Justice League.
He's the everyman.
He's the one that they put in there to be like, oh look, it's the thing with the thing, and it's those guys, and you know them. Great stuff.
Haha, down to earth man does simple human tasks like eat chicken.
Tornado woman with nano machines. Why? Why would you do that? What are those
Man
two
eat
things?
Chicken bucket.
What does nano machines and wind control have to do with each other? Also, she wears a very flowy costume with a lot of fabric. That'd blow in your face all the time. Like, tie your hair back at least.
Yeah, I know. She's got like very long hair at that point. Even pigtails or something will make more sense with it, you know?
Demons in hell are real, I guess.
Yeah, deadites are a thing now.
Yeah, the undead will rise and...
Can we just talk about this for a second? Black Adam fought the fucking devil.
Well, no. It's the embodiment of 12 demons, I think, if I was following the plot correctly. And then that guy, by dying, gets sent to hell. Or that version of hell. And the 12 demons are like, you will be our champion. It's essentially the doctor guy from the first Shazam. Like, oh, you're the evil Shazam. And so is this guy. And him too. Probably.
It's like Venom.
Who's to say, really? There's so many of them.
You are morally questionable. You get an anti-villain.
You get an anti-villain.
You get an anti-villain.
I also have written here that Shazam's hair is too artificial.
Oh yeah, no, Zachary Levi.
But that has nothing to do with the movie.
Zachary Levi looks like he's wearing a headpiece with that. But he
looks like he's using the amount of gel used on Goku in the live-action Dragon Ball Z movie. When it like flicks up and it splatters the mirror.
He literally just looks like he wakes up in the morning, like goes in the trailer, just puts his headpiece on like it's a Lego piece.
I might have mentioned this already, I don't remember. But that speech the woman gives to all the Justice Society at the beginning has like 30 cuts for no reason.
Yeah, that one was really jarring.
Weird.
Also, speaking of when he's like we need to fight. It's literally like we need to fight, guys.
He's way too quiet.
Nobody
heard him.
No, exactly. Nobody heard. It should have been like Shazam, where they're like, "What?" Somebody throws a tomato at the kid. Speak up. Like it just wasn't. He wasn't very loud.
No. Black Adam is a weird copy of Shazam, where this guy suddenly appears in this child's life who has powers, and he's trying to mentor him into a superhero. Like, we saw this exact same thing in Shazam, between Billy Batson and the kid with the crutches, whose name I also don't remember.
We'll call him Crutch Kid.
Crutch Kid. And it's the same thing. They're creating the same relationship. I mean, it's a little different because Black Adam is, like, using them as surrogate family, using them to replace his son and wife. But the kid should be terrified.
Oh no, for sure.
Like, he's murdering people he grew up in a country that basically had war.
Well, to be fair though, he is watching the people who have been oppressing his family and his life, his entire life, get fucking murdered, and it's like, yo, this is sick. Somebody's actually standing up for us. So it's like, I can understand him being desensitized to it and being like more for it, especially because they're not attacking his people. And he knows the legend of the story and superheroes anyway. It's just the fact that in the bedroom, the dude burns his Superman poster with laser eyes, and the kid doesn't fucking scream.
No, it's lightning from his hand.
Yeah.
He doesn't have laser eyes. That's Superman.
I don't give a shit.
They're all interchangeable.
Yeah, he does a zap and starts a fire. Don't tell Billy Joe though, he'll deny it. The kid should be screaming like a banshee, running down the hallways like Kevin McAllister.
He's so desensitized by media that he's just like, oh, superpowers. Wow.
You know what I'm starting to realize? I think Black Adam is actually just a look at the morality between kids who play violent video games and watch media.
I think Black Adam was an excuse to get Dwayne Johnson to be in a superhero movie.
No, Black Adam was Dwayne The Rock's excuse to be a superhero.
That's literally what I just said.
Yeah, but I worded it better.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.